There has been a little bit of an Elland Road development update in the Yorkshire Evening Post today, and whilst a lot of people are paying all of their attention to transfer stuff, and that is completely fine because, understandably, that is sort of going to vary how we do next season. In the long term, that Elland Road development could be the most important thing that Leeds United are working on right now. So, in this video, I'm going to run through what we knew already, some new updates on Timeframe and technical bits and bats, also what that actually means for fans, and ultimately what it means for the club going forward. But before I do all of that, I'd hugely appreciate if you could pop a like on the video to get it seen by more people, which really helps me to be able to do the channel more consistently. Same for subscribing, or become a member if you fancy. You get a bunch of videos and stuff early. Either way, I appreciate any of the support you can possibly give. Thank you. So I'm going to start with what we already knew about the ground development. We already knew that currently sitting at 38,000 seats, Elland Road will be upgrading to 53,000. Off the top of my head, it was something like the 12th largest stadium in the country after this, which is a pretty damn good stadium, if you ask me. North Stand is increasing to 15.3 thousand people from about 10 or 11-ish, with the West increasing to 17.8, making that side of the stadium colossal, basically, taking up, let's have a little quick bit of maths right now, 33k of the seats, give or take, with the other 20 coming mainly out of the East Stand, and the South sort of sitting there a little bit small and a little bit sad. But as long as it's got a nice little atmosphere and it doesn't get taken over by the away fans, it'll be all good. In addition to that, there was a little bit of discussion from the board about having up to 8 non-football events that can take place at a new look Elland Road on an annual basis. A lot of people will look at that and go, ugh, non-football events? That's not brilliant because it's going to cause issues with the pitch, etc. It's not. Let's be realistic here. Spurs' stadium holds concerts all the time. Anfield held a Taylor Swift concert. The amount of football grounds that hold concerts consistently is huge, and this would be a massive revenue generator for the club. But we need to get into the new sort of updates that we've gotten, and specifically they seem to be hovering around Timeframe, because a little bit of this was a question mark, if I remember right from the initial presentation that I read and did a video on. But we've got a couple of new Timeframe updates in this YEP sort of reminder update style thing. So first, we have a little bit of a timescale for the planning permission. There's potential planning permission confirmation that is coming within 12 weeks. So within the next 3 months, give or take, we will know whether or not this is able to go ahead. And from what I read in the report, odds are it will absolutely be going ahead. In terms of the people that responded to the sort of planning application, 98% of comments were positive, which for me says that it is absolutely going to be happening. In addition to that, there were 1,800 visitors to the consultation that happened down at the Centenary Pavilion, and they're saying they've taken all comments into account now. Having worked in a public-facing role myself, and I still do, a lot of the time, taking comments into account means I've read it, it was a stupid suggestion, and we'll ignore it. But you're still sort of taking it into account, because if enough people make the stupid suggestion, maybe it's not that stupid of a suggestion. But in addition to that 12-week planning permission process, we have to work out when shovels hit the ground, and shovels will be hitting the ground in May 2026. From this, I read that it will basically be a matter of, at the end of the season, it gets started, because there's no use kicking things into action in October, and then all of a sudden you've knacked the amount of people that can fit in your stadium because you've not managed to put in the bit where you're putting people whilst the bottom bit is being worked on. I think having the 2 or 3 months at the start of the 26-27 season is going to be huge for getting a decent amount of work done, because the West Stand is set to be complete by Q4 of 2028, which is a pretty reasonably quick turnaround. It is a big, big job, and it would be a job that is done a little bit quicker if we were to just not seat people in the West Stand whilst it was going on, but that would be absolutely bonkers and ultimately do more harm than good to the club's revenue and to the fan base, basically. If you are one of the people that gets kicked out of your seat at Elland Road because they are rebuilding it, you're not going to be too happy. So taking a little bit longer by sort of building on top of and then moving people up and then doing the bottom and all that kind of stuff seems sensible to me. Takes a little bit longer, but it makes sure it gets done properly. Then, after that, the North Stand is set to be complete by Q4 of 2030, another 2 years, but it's a smaller stand, so it's going to take 2 rather than the 2.5. ultimately, we need to talk about what this means for fans, and this season, basically nothing, because all of the fans are able to stay where they are because none of the work is being done quite yet. The big changes will start to come in next season because the West End capacity is likely going to be moved upwards. As has been mentioned, they are planning on not losing any seats throughout this process. So my read into it is effectively that they will get a basic structure up above the current West Stand during that summer period next year. And then they'll move people up into that and then just sort of build around it on non-match days when there is time to do so, to make sure that the stadium is looking as good and proper and fine and dandy as feasibly possible. Whilst we do look at it from a fan perspective, because that is basically inevitable, we also have to talk about what that means for the club. And that means that going forward, the club is going to be in a very, very healthy position financially. Because at the end of the day, you are adding 16,000 people to the stadium, which is another 50% or so. Matchday revenues will shoot up, which means that you are able to put more money into stuff like transfers and wages and investment in the youth squad. And there was a little bit of a conversation that I spotted earlier on the Leeds United subreddit that specifically surrounded the women's side and asking, like, why aren't we investing in those? Like, women's football costs relatively little by comparison. It's because for the last year or so, we've been pumping so much cash into the senior side to make sure they get back to the Premier League that we've not been able to. This sort of investment in long-term revenue means that we will get into a spot where we can go up and up and up and up and invest in all areas of the club, which I think is completely essential for a modern football side. The men's game isn't the only part that matters. You have to look at the academy, you have to look at the women's side, and us doing that is something that I'm very, very happy with, and I think we'll do going forwards. Ultimately, though, what we've learned is a much tighter idea of the time frame, which is good to know, and a further sort of confirmation of the fact that there will be a push for other events outside of football, which is going to be colossal for making sure that the club is able to earn properly, keep up with the clubs that are constantly playing European football, and get in the right direction for the foreseeable future. Very, very happy with it. But whilst I'm happy with it, I also want to know what you guys are thinking. Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you aren't yet, because that is massively beneficial to the channel. You can also be a channel member, $2.99 a month. You get videos like this one early. It's quite nice. And yeah, thanks, gang. And toodaloo. But not quite toodaloo yet. I've got a fun, big idea for a video coming in the next couple of months that I might have to mention on a stream at some point just to get people's opinions. Very excited by it, but I might have to like focus group it a little bit. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. Hope you all enjoyed. I will see you later. Ta-ra.